Welcome, it's Charlene here from the Assumption Effect. And today's title is all about the past has no power over you unless you keep recreating it. Your past is not pushing you into your future. Your current state, identity, assumptions, and emotional meaning are what continue the pattern. Break it. What if your past is not the thing controlling your future? What if the memory is not the present, but the meaning you keep giving it? Because here is the part most people never stop to question. They say, I am this way because of what happened to me. They say, I always get rejected because I have always been rejected. They say, money never stays because it has never stayed before. They say, this is just how life goes. But what if? But what if that is not true? What if that is only a repeated conclusion wearing the costume of truth? So today is about a lot of asking, a lot of questions, a lot of why. Because that normally is an underlying belief or underlying assumptions that so many people are not aware of. So we're doing a lot of, like I say, why, what if, to pinpoint to hopefully you'll have an aha moment after this video. So today we are going to break down why the past has no objective power over you. How your mind keeps reacting or recreating old patterns present, and how you can begin shifting into a new identity. Maybe you have tried to move forward, but something inside you keeps pulling you back. You start affirming a new story. But then one memory comes up or something happens, and suddenly it feels like all your progress disappears. You remember the person who left. You remember the opportunity that failed. You remember the words someone said to you. You remember the moment you decided, maybe I'm not chosen. I'm not enough. It's just how it is for me. And without realizing it, you are no longer living in the present moment. You're going back to that old story. You are standing inside an old emotional room, breathing yesterday's air, calling it today's reality. This is what so many people say are doing the work but still feel stuck. They are not stuck because the past is more powerful than their desire. They are stuck because the past is being recreated as present identity. That is the key. The event happened then, but the identity is being chosen now. And once you understand that, your whole relationship with manifestation, revision, healing, self-concept begins to change. Most people unconsciously treat the past as if it is a physical force, almost like it has hands, almost like it can reach into today and push them into the same outcome again. But the past is not physically here. It exists in the present as a memory, as an emotion, as an identity. When you recall a painful memory and say, "This always happens to me," you're not simply remembering, you are rehearsing, and you are re-entering that state. You're placing your nervous system, your imagination, your assumptions, and all your expectation back inside the same old inner posture. That is why the past feels powerful. Not because it is actively controlling you, but because you keep activating the version of you who has shaped it. This is the trap, and it's not loud. It does not announce itself. It sounds reasonable. It says, "I'm just being realistic." It says, "I have evidence." It says, "I've been through it before." But in the law of assumption, evidence to decide who you are now. You are not predicting the future. You are programming it. There's a difference. Here is where the real shift begins. There is a difference between what happened and what you decided it meant. A relationship ending is an event, but "I am always abandoned" is a conclusion. There's a difference. A business failing is an event, but "money is hard for me" is a conclusion. Someone criticizing you is an event, but "I am not enough to be seen" is a conclusion, or shall I say, an assumption. And many people are not manifesting from the event. They are manifesting from the conclusion, from the assumption, and they're not even aware of it. They're not saying, "This happened." They are saying, "This is who I am now because this happened." That is where the subconscious accepts the instruction. Not from the fact itself, but from the meaning attached to the fact. I'm going to say it again. The subconscious accepts the instruction, not from the fact itself, but from the meaning attached to that fact. And this is powerful Because if the meaning was assigned, can be reassigned. So a belief can be reassigned. If the conclusion or the assumption was learned, it can be rewritten. If the identity was formed, it can be reformed. You do not have to erase your memory. You do not have to pretend something did not happen. Spiritually, bypass your own experience. But you do get to stop worshipping the old meaning as if it is law. The old story may feel familiar, but familiar does not mean final. So how do you begin changing this? You start by separating the event from the identity. You start by separating the event from the identity. Instead of saying, that relationship failed because I am not enough. So you say, that relationship ended because it revealed where I was abandoning myself, where my standards needed to rise, and where I was still asking the outside world to conform my worth. Think about what I just said. Instead of saying that opportunity failed because success is not for me, you say that experience trained my discernment, sharpened my direction, and prepared me to receive from a higher state. Instead of saying, they ignored me because I am invisible, you say, that moment showed me where I was still waiting for permission to take up space. Do you feel the difference? I gave you 3 examples. What you think and how to reinvent your whole saying, your whole thinking. Vision collapses you. The other version calls you forward. One version makes the past your master. The other makes the past your mirror. And as you listen now to this, just begin to notice the places where you have confused old conclusion or old assumption with your new reality. You might begin to realize that you are allowed to choose gain. It's not fixed. You interpret what you've said and you interpret it into the new. Now, this is where Neville Goddard idea of revision became so powerful. Revision is not about lying to yourself, not about denying physical events. It is about changing the emotional imprint that the event still has inside you. It's a version of you who is still reacting to the old scene. That is still in conversation with a moment that is no longer physically happening. You had this inner conversation with yourself. I'm going to say this, and he did that, and exactly it. So you take that memory that still carries charge without forcing, and you change that story. And you do not do this to change past outside of you. You do it to change how the past lives inside of you. That is deep work. Because once the emotional charge dissolves, the old memory stops being a command. It becomes data. It becomes awareness. Awareness is the right word. It becomes something you experience, not something you are. Just let that sit with you for a moment. You can remember without recreating. I'm going to say it again. You can remember without recreating. You can acknowledge without identifying. You can learn without living there. That is the sacred shift. Assumptions. Identifying with something I am. That's the secret. You're not deleting your past. You are removing its authority. Because creation only happens not 5 years ago, not in the conversation that hurt you, now. So if the old story says, I am always rejected, the new state says, I am chosen because I choose myself first. My state is the command. My reality reflects my state. If this message reached something in you today, comment below. I choose my new identity now. Let that be your declaration. You can find my course, Remove Your Blocks. It's a really in-depth course. The link is in the description below. It's a free course. I also do one-on-one coaching, and I also have 2 courses down below in the link. Activation of Worthiness, a very deep dive, and also a specific person magnetism activation. See you in the next video.